You step onto a strange shore after crossing an endless ocean. The forests are dark, the land is unfamiliar, and within just 1 year, half of your companions will be gone. What would you do? This isn't fiction. This is real history, the dramatic beginnings of English America. And here's something important. This video is episode 1 of our brand new series, Colonial America to Revolution, How It All Began. Subscribe now so you don't miss the full journey as we uncover every chapter, from the first fragile colonies to the birth of a nation. And please, share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective helps us bring history to life. In the early 1600s, Europe was competing for the New World. Spain had gold, France had fur, England, it wanted its chance. In 1607, 3 ships, the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery, carried just over 100 settlers. Imagine yourself on one of those ships. Cramped quarters, weeks of storms, little food, no certainty of survival. But here's the twist. These people weren't all rugged farmers or skilled pioneers. Many were gentlemen, adventurers, or laborers who expected easy riches. They weren't ready for what lay ahead. When the settlers arrived in Virginia, they built a small triangular fort on the banks of the James River. It seemed safe, water on one side, walls on the others. But the water was brackish, the summer heat was overwhelming, and mosquitoes swarmed everywhere. Within weeks, hunger set in. Food stores ran low. Many settlers fell sick. By autumn, the dream of quick wealth had turned into a struggle just to stay alive. What they didn't realize was that winter would be far worse than summer. The winter of 1609 to 1610 became known as the starving time. Out of nearly 500 colonists, only about 60 survived until spring. Imagine walking through the fort and seeing empty houses, silent streets, and only a handful of people strong enough to move. Captain John Smith, one of the leaders, described the colony's struggle in his writings. He noted that strict discipline and occasional trade with native tribes were the only reasons Jamestown didn't completely vanish. But here's another twist. Jamestown's survival wasn't guaranteed. At least twice, the colonists almost abandoned the fort entirely. If not for new arrivals with supplies, the settlement might have ended forever. 13 years later, in 1620, another group sailed to America, the Pilgrims. But unlike Jamestown, their main goal wasn't wealth. They wanted freedom, the ability to worship without persecution. Their ship, the Mayflower, carried families, men, women, and children. Before even stepping on land, they signed a short agreement, the Mayflower Compact. It wasn't long or complicated, but it set the principle of self-government, promising to work together for the good of the colony. But here's the catch. They landed in December, in New England, with no houses, little food, and freezing winds. That first winter was brutal. Nearly half of the Pilgrims were lost by spring. But unlike Jamestown, help came from an unexpected ally. The Wampanoag people and individuals like Squanto taught the Pilgrims how to plant corn, use fish as fertilizer, and live off the land. Without this alliance, Plymouth might not have survived either. By the fall of 1621, they gathered for a harvest celebration, what later became remembered as the First Thanksgiving. William Bradford, governor of Plymouth, wrote in his journal that their survival was nothing short of providence. But let's pause here. What if Jamestown had collapsed? What if Plymouth had failed like so many other colonies? Imagine America where English settlers never gained a foothold. Spain might have expanded north from Mexico. France might have spread south from Canada. The entire continent could have spoken Spanish or French, and the idea of the United States might never have existed. The survival of just a few hundred settlers, people who endured hunger, disease, and harsh winters, reshaped global history. Jamestown and Plymouth were glorious beginnings. They were fragile, desperate experiments, but against the odds they endured. From those small footholds grew 13 colonies. And from those colonies, a new nation would rise. But what was everyday life really like inside those colonies? What did families eat? How did they work? And how did faith guide their communities? That's what we'll explore in our next episode. So if you enjoyed this journey into the origins of America, make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, and stay tuned for the next chapter in our series, Daily Life in the 13 Colonies, because this is just the beginning